Hey guys, hope you are doing well. In our last video, we tried integrating Active Directory with Callmanager using LDAP. Now, in this video, we are going to enable SAML on Callmanager. SAML is basically, SAML is called as Security Assertion Markup Language. The primary role of SAML is to provide security, where it enables access to multiple web applications uh, using one set of login credential. How it works is basically it works by passing the authentication information in a particular format between two parties, usually an IDP, which is also called as identity provider, and a web application, which is also called as service provider. So SAML is an basically open standard authentication. So it basically uses XML format and where you need to exchange the XML information between two parties, which is IDP and SP. So we have to why we are enabling SAML is so that the user on his machine do not have to pass the credentials back to Callmanager multiple times. So with one credential. The main benefit of SAML is like it is widely used by many enterprises, and it also uses or improves the user experience as the user need to sign in only once to log into the web application, not multiple times. So this is one of the good thing when you are using SAML. It provide authentication as well as authorization for the company. So let's try to integrate SAML with Callmanager. So now in order to do that, what we are going to do is we are going to use our Windows ED server, which is domain controller server, and here we are going to install ADFS, Active Directory Federation service on this server. So this is our ED server. Now what we need to do is we need to go to Manage and click on Add Rules and Features, and then click on Next. Click on Next again, selecting rule-based or feature-based installation, and select Next again. Now here you see something called as Active Directory Federation Service. So you need to check this box. Now once you check this box, you need to click on Next. Now you need to click on Next again. Click on Next. Restart the destination server automatically if required. Click on Yes. Click on Install. Now this installation process will take around 1 minute time, 1 minute to 2 minutes, depending on your hardware. So let's wait for the installation to get completed. So the installation has just started now. Okay. Now it is asking like the feature installation is completed. So now it is asking to configure the federation service on this server. So we are going to click on this particular link and configure the federation service on this server. Once you click on this particular window pop-up will open. So you need to make sure like you check this box or ready to select this box, create the first federation server in a federation server farm. Click on next. So this will remain default. So we are going to use the same username, which is the Active Directory Domain Administrator, which is going to use the permission for the federation service configuration. Click on next. Now select the SSL certificate. So we are going to select the SSL certificate. In case of federation service name, it is going to auto populate the information once you select the server certificate. Now federation service display name, you can type anything. I'll type uccollabing in my case. It really does not matter much. So this is the name what you will see at the time of when you are logging into the SAML SSO authenticating yourself in the SAML SSO. So this is the brand name basically. Click on next. Now, in this case, now what you have to do is you have to open PowerShell. So I'll type search for Windows and then search for PowerShell. Now, once you click on here, so what you need to do is you need to click on Show More. So it'll give you some message. So you have to enter this command and in the PowerShell window, add KDS root key space minus effective time get date add hours minus 10 and enter this. So you are going to get a GUID. Click on OK here. Click on previous right now and then again click on next. Now here you have to click on select this box, create a group managed service account. So we'll enter our administrator username, which we are using for this particular AD server. Now select this box, create a database on this server using Windows internal database. Click on next and then click on next again. It is asking you to review a selection. We'll click on next again and now click on configure. Before that, you have to make sure like you see all the prerequisites checks pass successfully. If it is not meeting the prerequisites or failing, prerequisites are failing, then you have to see why it is failing. So in our case, all of them are passed. So we'll click on configure and you can click on the close the PowerShell window. You don't need it anymore. So this is again going to take a minute time where it is going to install the Windows database, SQL database, etc. Okay, so this server was successfully configured. So we'll click on close again, click on close. So now what we need to do is we need to download the XML file from this ADFS server, which is Active Directory Federation server. In our case, it is same as your Windows domain controller, where we have installed Active Directory Federation service. So we have to download one XML file from the server, and we have to upload that XML file in the Callmanager. So I'll let you know the host name. So this is going to be the XML Federation server URL. So in our case, I have put as UCC WIN AD. This is our Active Directory or domain controller server. You have to put the full FQDN and then this would be going to be the URL. You have to just modify this parameter based on your domain name server. So I'm going to select this, open Firefox, not now. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the URL and then hit enter. Now it is going to save some file. So I'll just click on this save file. It is basically a file called as federation metadata.xml file. Click on save. In the meanwhile, what we are going to do is we are going to you open the Callmanager publisher. Okay, this is the URL. Click on Callmanager. I'll key in the credential as administrator and the password for administrator. And I also wanted to show this file. How does it look like? I'll try to open it Notepad. So it looks something like this. If you try to open it in Notepad++, it will make more sense than seeing it on Notepad. However, you don't need to modify this particular file. It is just as an FYI, I opened the file. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to create a user account before we start enabling the SAML. So I'll just search for users in my Active Directory or domain controller server. Click on this and then create a user called Avinash Karnani and my login name. Click on next, create a credential. User cannot change password. Password never expires. So I don't want to change the password and I want the password not to expire at any point of time. Next, finish. So right now, if you see, the user will not be available in this end user because we have to sync the LDAP, and by default the LDAP is is supposed to be synced after 7 days. In many of the organization, they sync, or most of the organization, the company syncs every 4 hours so that they get the user updated every 4 hours. Since this is our lab, I didn't, resync it every 4 hours. So I thought of resyncing it whenever it is required. So I'll click on perform full sync now. Click on OK. The reason why we are creating this account is because we wanted to, test the SAML login, and we wanted to make use of this particular account in order to, test the SAML login. Now I'll go to the end user. So this user should appear here in a couple of seconds. Yes, the user is appeared here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign a super user privileges to this user. So I'll go to add to access control group. I'll give super user privileges. Hit selected. Click on save. Okay, so this part is done. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to system, then click on SAML. Okay, so now we see all the 4 servers are listed here. This is your Callmanager publisher. This is your Callmanager subscriber 1. This is your Callmanager subscriber 2. And this is your CUPS. We see right now the SAML to be disabled, and we never imported any metadata which we have downloaded, and we never tested the SSO. So right now what we are going to do is we are going to click on enable SAML SSO. Click on continue. Before you click on continue, it says like web server connections will be restarted. So we'll click on continue. Now what you have to do is you have to click on next. What it will do is it will download the IDP metadata trust file from the server. So before that, you have to import the metadata file which you have downloaded from the Active Directory server or ADFS server. So this was the file which we downloaded in the previous step. So select this file, import IDP metadata. So we are going to upload the federation metadata file which we have downloaded from the ADFS server, and we are going to import it in the Callmanager. Okay, so it says import succeeded for all servers. So that means we don't have any error. It has also given a tick mark here. So that means no issues. In case if you see any issues, you may have to re-import the metadata file. Uh, okay, looks like the page is a little slow loading. Let's wait for it to come, for the loading to complete it. Okay, I click on next, And now what we have to do is we have to download the trust metadata file from this link. Just click on this. It'll try to save some file on your browser in a zip format. So that zip file should contain all the four server information in an XML file. So there should be total four XML files altogether. So let's wait for the download to be completed. Okay, let's try to open this file. So you see here there are four files, so that means that the download is successfully completed. So there is no issues. In case there are some cases where you may find two files or one file, in such cases you may have to restart the download again. Again, it depends on the number of servers you have. In our case, we have four servers. That is the reason we are getting four files inside it. In case if you have two servers, you'll get two files. If you're getting any way number less than the servers you have, then in that case you have to reinitiate the download by clicking on this button. So what I'll do is I'll extract these files into the desktop. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on next here. So right now you see Ekanani, the user account which we have created has appeared here because we have given super user rights. So we cannot run the SSO test. If we try to do that, it'll fail because we have to still configure some of the parameters. Right now we have made one-way a trust relationship. So we have to create the trust relationship on the ADFS server as well. So we are done with the call manager, but we are not done with the ADFS server trust relationship. So I'll just type ADFS. So it'll show up ADFS management. Click on this. So you're going to get this page here. So what I'll do is I'll click on Add Relying Party Trust. So you're going to get this welcome page. Click on Start. So it is asking you, giving you three options. So we are going to select this option, import data about relying party from a file. Now we are going to select the Call Manager Publisher first file and import this here. Click on Next. So we'll enter the display name as CUCMA, or maybe you can type as CUCM Publisher. I would say like CUCMA, I would type as a host name so that we know like what files we are modifying. Okay, so it says I do want to configure MFA. In our case, we are not going to configure MFA, so I'm going to leave it as default. I do not want to configure MFA. Click on next. It says like choose issuance authorization rule. So I'm going to say permit all users to access this relying party. Click on next. So I'm not going to modify anything here. Click on next again. Now it says open the edit claim rules dialog for this relying party trust when the wizard closes. So I'm going to check this box. Click on close. Now this particular window has opened. So you have to add two rules here. So let's add the first rule here. So the first rule would be send LDAP attributes as claims. So we'll leave it as it is. Click on next. Now in the claim rule, we have to type claim rule for CUCM A. You can type anything. It really does not matter. Now in case of attribute store, you have to select as active directory. Now in case of LDAP attribute, you have to choose SAM account name. Now in case of outgoing claim type, you have to type as UID and then click on finish. Now add another rule. In that rule, we have to select send claim using a custom rule. Now click on next. In the claim rule, we'll type custom rule. Now here we have to copy this particular parameters in this server. So what this parameter, what I have modified here is I have modified it to be this call manager publisher address uccincucma uccollabing.com. This is going to be the publisher, and here I have modified one more thing here is the ADFS server name, which is going to be UCC win ED. So as I said, like domain controller is going to be our ADFS server. So the host name would be uccinwinad.uccollabing.com. So this thing and this particular thing have modified, remaining you can keep it as default and copy this and paste it here. Custom rule. Make sure like you do not hit any space or enter. So it should be as it is. Click on finish. Apply. Okay. So we have created one relying party trust. Now we have to add three more relying party trusts for your Callmanager subscribers as well as cups. So let's click on add relying party trust. We'll go through the same process again. Start, click on import data about relying party trust from a file. Select the subscriber CUCMB. In this case, click on next. In the rule, we'll type as CUCMB. Next, 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 close, add rule. It'll remain as send LDAP attributes. Claim rule, select active directory here. Here, select the SAM name and here UID. Click on finish. Add one more rule. Send claims using a custom rule. Click on next. Now here I'm going to modify the custom rule to CUCM B. So this is going to be our subscriber here. So you have to make sure you modify this parameter, remaining everything would going to be the same. Click on finish, apply. Okay. Now let's add the third rule. Start, import. Now here we'll select the second subscriber, CUCMC. Display name as CUCMC. Okay. Deep directory, SAM account name, UID, finish, add one more rule, send claims using a custom rule. Now, now we'll enter it as CUCMC because you have imported the file for CUCMC and we are creating this rule for CUCMC. Click on finish, apply. Okay. Last one more rule for the cups or IM&Presence. So this is for the cups. Next, I'll just name it as cups. Add rule and attribute div directory. Now last rule here we have to modify this to cups hostname uccin cups.uccollabing.com and click on finish apply. Okay, now we have added all the relying trust file. Now what we have to do is we have to test this SAML SSO. Okay, so let's try to run this SSO test from here. So by clicking on this, a pop-up window will open. So you need to make sure that the browser is accepting the pop-ups to be allowed. If in case it is not allowed, you can turn it from here. In my Firefox, it's allowed. So it is asking me for the sign in. If you remember, like we have created a username called akarnani at uccollabing.com. This is the SSO user what we have created for our testing purpose. And then I'm going to key in the password and then click on sign in. So once you click on sign in, it is going to test the SSO if it is successful or not. So let's wait. Okay. So if you see here, SSO test succeeded. Congratulations on a successful SAML SSO configuration test. Please close this window and click on finish on the SAML configuration wizard to complete the setup. We'll click on close. So right now, if you see here on the Callmanager page, it says SSO metadata test successful. So ready to enable SSO. Clicking on finish will complete enabling SSO on all the servers in this cluster. There will be a short delay while the applications are being updated. To verify the SSO status of each server, check the main SSO configuration page. Additionally, testing and manual uploads may be performed from the main page necessary. So we'll click on finish. And right now it is giving the status. SAML SSO enablement process initiated on all the server. There will be short delay while the applications are being updated on each server. To verify the SSO status of each server, check the main SSO configuration page. So what we can do is we'll hold or we'll pause the video for some time, maybe for 5 minutes, so that it'll enable SSO on all the web applications, and then we'll resume the video from there onwards. Okay, so we are almost completed with the time. So now let's try to, log in one of the virtual machine which I have uh, added to the domain controller. So this is ED joined, and I'm going to use the account A Karnani, which I have created for the SSO super user login. So what I'm going to do is this particular virtual machine, I have a ED join, and I'm going to use the account as A Kanani. So if you see here, if I just enter here, sign in to uccollabing using my username, it will log in into the domain. So right now you can see here, it is logged into the domain. So what I can do is I'll open Firefox and try to use the URL. Okay, HTTPS UCCIN cucma.uccollabing.com. I'll enter this URL. So it is giving me one additional option here is recovery URL to bypass single sign-on. So if you click on this, you can put in your credentials, username and password, and then log in. So basically, if let's say if you want to use administrator account, then you can click on this particular URL and then pass in the credential. Or let's say if you are trying to log in from a machine which is where you don't have the user ID added as a super user. In such cases, you can use this and enter the admin credentials by using this recovery URL. So in our case, we are going to just click on this Cisco Unified Communications Manager, and then it should allow us to log in using single sign-on. But for the first time, when you're trying to log in, it'll ask you for the domain credentials so that it'll authenticate you for the first time. And then if you keep continue in being in the same browser and use any of the other application, it will not ask you for the SSO. So let me click on this Cisco Unified Communications Manager. So it is asking me for the domain credentials. I'll enter the credential here, and then it should allow me to log in back to the Callmanager publisher. So if you see here, I'm logged in using my domain credential. Now, if I try to log into the pub subscriber, if you would have know, if you know, by default, I have to enter the credential, but uh, when we are SSO signed, we don't have to enter the credential. So now let's try to log into the subscriber. So I'll just change this to CUCMB. so which is going to be subscriber, and I'll just click on Cisco Unified Communications Manager. So as you have seen here, I have not passed any of the credential, and I'm able to log in to the call manager. Now same goes for C, and just enter C here and click on Cisco Unified Communications Manager. So I'm logged into the C as well. Now let's log into the cups. So again for the cups also, I'm going to click on this particular URL and it should allow me to log in to the cups as well. Okay, now if you see, I'm able to log into the all the applications using SSO. So this is how we use SSO to log in, and this is how we export the data between the ADFS server as well as the call manager. I hope you like this video. So see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.